Okay, so this is the white corn. We use white corn because it's sweeter. So I'm going to take one of these white corns. And using the little sharp carving knife, I'm going to cut the corn off the cob and put it in the blender like that. Okay, so I got all the corn off the cob and I'm going to put it in the blender. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and blend this in the blender. I'm not going to add any butter or anything else to it because the corn is cold. So if I add butter, the cold corn will solidify the butter and it will get too hard for my cheapy Walmart blender to blend. So I will add that after this is all grinded up really nice. Okay, so that's grinded up real nice and liquidy, and I'm gonna add some more corn to that. Okay, so I went ahead and carved the corn off of 2 more corn on the cobs, and I'm going to go ahead and blend that now. Again, there's nothing else added to this, just corn. Okay, so now that I have my corn blended up, I have 2 sticks of real butter, real salted butter, that I'm going to melt in the microwave. 2 sticks of butter, which is going to equal 1 cup of butter, I'm going to add to my 4 corn on the cobs that I cut and blended. Okay, so I've got my butter all nice and melted. And again, I'm going to add this to the ground up corn. I'm going to mix that all in. Okay, so now what I have here is some instant corn masa mix, and because this is just corn and butter, fresh corn and butter, it's too runny to roll a tamale with this. It will just, I mean, it'll taste really yummy, but it'll be too runny. So I'm just going to add just enough of this to thicken my fresh corn masa. So normally I don't measure the amount of masa that I add to this. I just do it until it's the right consistency. But for the sake of this recipe, I'm going to start out with 1 cup or 8 ounces of dry masa mix. And we'll see exactly how much I end up using. The less, the better, because we want the fresh sweet corn flavor. So I started out with, looks like maybe about 3/4 cup. I'm going to stir that in and see how thick it gets. Okay, so I added 1 full cup of masa to this. It got thicker. It still may look mushy to some, but I'm gonna stop here because, like I said, even if I do have a little bit of a softer tamale, I don't care because I want that sweet, fresh corn flavor. I don't want anything to ruin it. Also, I'm gonna add some cheese to this. I don't measure the cheese. I just dump some cheese into my taste. I also am going to add more cheese to the center of the tamale as I roll them. So how much shredded cheese or what kind of shredded cheese you add is personal preference. But the cheese will also thicken the masa. Okay, so I have a cup of shredded cheese. This is Colby and Monterey Jack cheese from Walmart. I usually don't measure, but I'm going to measure this just for the sake of this recipe. I know some people want to follow exactly. I do on my first time making something, so I can make it come out the way I want. And as you see, as this masa got a little thicker since I stirred it the last time. So I'm glad I didn't add any more dry masa to my fresh corn masa. So I'm happy with the 1 cup of corn. 1 cup of cheese. And like I said, I'm going to add some more cheese. I have a block of pepper jack cheese that I'm gonna put in the center of the tamale. So I'm gonna cut it up and I'm gonna put little sticks of cheese in the center of the tamale, and I'll show you that in a minute. Also, I have 2 big jalapenos. I know in green corn tamales, a lot of people like to add green chili. You can add green chili too. But personally, I like the flavor of the biggest, fattest jalapenos I can find. To me, they have more flavor. Also, more spice sometimes. And they're easier because I don't have to roast and peel these. I'm just going to cut them up. I am going to de-seed them. And I'm going to just add them right into my masa. Okay, so here I have that big fat jalapeno all diced up. So far I just did one. I don't know if I'm going to add the other. I'll let you know. So here's my masa with the 1 cup of cheese and 1 diced up jalapeno added to it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and add the other jalapeno. Okay, here's my masa with 1 cup of cheese and 2 diced jalapenos. And all I'm going to add to season this is salt and pepper to taste. Okay, so adding the salt. I try not to over salt this because this corn is sweet. If you put too much salt, then you can't taste the sweet corn anymore. Okay, so there's my tamale with my little stick of pepper jack cheese ready to roll and cook in the microwave. Okay, I rolled it. Now I'm going to get it in the microwave. Okay, got that in there. And I'm going to cook it. This is small. So I'm going to cook it for 2.5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to roll another one. This is a bigger corn husk. So see how I don't put it too much close to the bottom and too much close to the top? Because this is squishy masa and it's going to squish up when I roll it. And I don't want it all falling out the bottom in the pan or coming out the top. So that's how I roll my tamales. Okay, so I just got my sample tamale out of the microwave. It was in there for 2.5 minutes. And I'm going to let you see me open it. I'm going to try to hold my camera still. I'm doing this all by my baby self. So it looks like this is the first time I use that cheese too. Let me get the fork. I can't do it. I'm just gonna. There it is. See how the microwave dries out my masa a little bit, but that's telling me that my masa is solid enough to come out like this in the microwave. I think I cooked it too long because it's little. I should have only cooked it for 2 minutes hot. But I can tell just by this that my masa is going to be solid enough to steam the whole pot. Okay, and I'm going to taste it. If I could get it out. The cheese makes it stick to the husk a lot. Hold on. So it's really good. It's nice and sweet. The fresh corn has not been violated by too much of this instant corn masa mix. So I'm ready to roll all my tamales and cook them now. And I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so there's my tamales in the pot. I've got about 1.5 inches of water down here underneath this strainer thingy. I got it on high because I'm going to bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to turn it down to about there, and then I'm going to set my timer for 1 hour, and these will be done because there's not very many in here, so they'll be done in an hour. That recipe made exactly 1 dozen big fat tamales. So that's not very many. If you want more, you can double or quadruple that recipe. But we had 4 white corn on the cobs that we cut off and added to the blender. Then 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of instant dry masa, 1 cup of shredded Monterey Jack Colby cheese, 2 fat jalapenos, some salt, some cracked pepper, and some more pepper jack slices in the middle of each tamale. So that's it. That's all I made.